Hey, this is Ed. Glad you could be with me. In the previous video, I reviewed how you frame your picture in your mind as though you have finished the drawing already using a framework of components. And today, I want us to look at the composition of a drawing in learning how we begin the process. Two important aspects to review in this video is the perspective and parts of the composition. Since I'll be dealing mainly with portrait drawing, you have to determine how you want the face to fit onto the paper as being flat, quarter, three-quarter, or silhouette. Now you are ready to begin, and essentially three ways are being taught. First is the grid method, which I will be using in the very next video. Secondly, use a projector or some kind of technological instrument. Currently being reviewed by the art community, this process is under some scrutiny whether or not it's considered to be old school versus new school, or maybe just trying to cut corners. Either way, I would say as long as it works for you and you are beginning the process, you can always come back later to learn the grid method or another method altogether that would help you with your drawing skills. The third way is by the use of tracing paper. I have only used this a couple of times, and I would recommend finding another source, either from the library or videos on the internet, that would be able to help move you faster with this particular method. The tracing paper is among the easiest and quickest to learn, especially for beginners. It is simply the process of buying or using very thin paper and tracing over what you want to draw, and then tracing that over the paper that you want to project the image. Now, there is one fourth way, perhaps, that is being taught or not taught necessarily, and that is by the fortunate artist who can freehand a drawing and eyeball a subject and put it directly onto the paper without any outside support or help from any instruments. And unless you have had a lot of practice or are truly or even divinely gifted, then perhaps this one will exempt you to go ahead and move a lot quicker in the beginning process of your drawing. I probably review a couple thousand different pieces of art on Instagram and the internet images almost every day. So I really appreciate seeing where people are or attempting to improve on their drawing skills. Now, without sounding too critical, I would say there's only about 10 to 15% of the people drawing, whether it's real, illustrative, or cartoon portraits, only a small percentage have the correct perspective, much less getting all the parts to look complete in a drawing. I recommend, if you don't get anything else out of this video, I recommend that you practice the parts of the face so that you don't get frustrated because your perspective doesn't always work out as you prefer. And this is the point of which many artists will give up drawing. If you focus on drawing the smaller parts first, you may find much more enjoyment in the process of putting the pieces together. I wish somebody had told me that when I started drawing about a year and a half ago. Rather than trying to do it all at one time, and sometimes learning the parts as I went along in the middle of my drawing. So, if you are a beginner, I recommend starting to draw the smaller parts of the face first. Start with the eyes, the nose, the ears, the hair, the mouth and teeth, and the shoulders and the neck. Practice those on a separate piece of paper and focus on turning them in various positions with the eyes open and closed, the nose from a flat, quarter, or silhouette perspective, ears the same way, mouth open or closed, and then attempt drawing teeth. Teeth are very difficult, but once you understand how to shade teeth and the mouth, a nice set of pearly white teeth can really set off clarity and realism for the rest of your drawing. And then there's the shoulders and the neck. Believe it or not, a lot of pieces I see fall short because a neck muscle or piece of the neck anatomy is not in the right place, or that the head doesn't necessarily fit correctly onto the shoulders. All of these become important to draw separately so that when you come to the total perspective, everything can be put in its place. For most of the people who do make contact with me, most of their frustration is starting with the right perspective. Whatever method you may be using, once you have your perspective, you can begin to place the parts of the face in their proper place. If your piece is leaning more toward realism in your drawing style and preference. In the next video, I'm going to be using the grid technique in order to get started on a new project I've been wanting to do for some time. I look forward to talking to you later, and best of luck and skill as we move together in these future projects.